Hello.
Hello, Jimmy さん、こん
Nice
にち
to
は。
see you again.
Yes. How are you?
Good. I was arrested under the national security law offenses, and they have not charged me yet, but I'm going to the police station on December 2nd to be interrogated again about my interview with you or my interview with other people, which will violate the national security law, and to extend my bail on December 2nd. No, my bail, I don't know. They may extend it, but they have not charged me yet. So it's likely that they will extend it unless they charge me when I go there. But they will eventually have to charge me. So I don't know when. Maybe they have to wait until the right time, politically, the right time to do so, because now Biden is elected president. Maybe they have to see what Biden's attitude is. They don't want to preempt Biden before he becomes the president to charge me. That's my guess.
立法議員の資格剥奪ですね。これについては、ジミーさん、どう考えます？
I think this is a big change. First, because we are not allowed to have mass demonstration now in Hong Kong. And now, because they DQ 4 of the legislators in our legislative council, all the pro-democratic legislators had to resign. That also means that in the legislative council, we will not have the opposing voice from the pro-democratic legislators. In this way, because there's no demonstration in the street, there's no voice against the establishment in the legislative council, there will be no news. Because either there's a confrontation in the legislative council that becomes the news, the world knows what's happening in Hong Kong, or there's demonstrations on the street. So, the world will report us. When there's no news from Hong Kong, I'm afraid the attention of the world to Hong Kong will be diverted, and we are forgotten. And this is the most dangerous thing happened here, because our saving grace is for the world to pay attention to the plight of Hong Kong people. If they forget us, we will be helpless. And that's the danger. But for those legislators who have resigned, I don't see the likelihood of them. I don't see the likelihood of them going back to the legislative council, because the government has raised the bar of condition so high that I don't think any pro-democratic legislators will still want to go back to the legislative council. So the only way for the whole pro-democratic politicians is to form a civil parliament, which has nothing to do with the government, but which will be supported by the people. I think the support by the people to such a civil parliament will be overwhelming majority. And this, if is the fact, this civil parliament will have the legitimacy and support to stop the government doing bad things. That's damaging to Hong Kong people's freedom or the rule of law. Well, it is definitely unbelievable, because the 4 legislators were elected by the people, and the CCP just DQ them, disqualified them with just one word. They just simply qualified them with very mundane excuses. You know, so that shows to you and shows to the world that CCP do not respect the opinion of the people and do not respect the rule of law. Because if they respect the rule of law, they will respect the right of the people. And this shows to you that they have totally disregard people's rights. So what we vote for the legislators council, legislators, for them is nothing. If they want to expel, they want to expel. So the world will have to see how trustworthy they are in abiding to the rule of law. They just want to turn the Hong Kong Legislative Council into a rubber stamp legislative council, the same as in China. That's the only legislative council the CCP is comfortable with. So, you know, they just want to rubber stamp it. Whatever they say, the legislator will rubber stamp it. And that's the way they want it. And that's why you can see that Hong Kong is finished as far as the rule of law is concerned. Well, we definitely cannot raise our voice because the only way we can raise our voice is by demonstration. And we are not allowed to have demonstration. The mood of the Hong Kong people is very clear. A lot of them are thinking of emigrating to different countries, to Canada, Australia, especially to England, because the British government gave us the BNO holders the right of abode in England. So I expect in 3 years, maybe 5 years, about 2 million people will emigrate to England, and another 1 million will emigrate to other places, because a lot of the country, they want Hong Kong people because they know that Hong Kong people are very valuable human resources. You know, so we are very valuable human resources, and also because they see that to help Hong Kong people reinforce their value, the Western value as a democracy. Because, you know, they see Hong Kong share the same value of them. You know, we share the same value of UK, Australia, all the Western countries. So when we go there, we will not have the conflict if we hold different values. The reason we share the same value just because the legacy of the colonial past, the British colonial past. The British did not give us a democracy, but the British gave us the rule of law, the freedom of speech, the private property right, and the freedom of religion and freedom of assembly. All these freedom institutions are the environment that we grow up with. And that's why we share the same value with the Western world and with the free world, and they see us as their kings. You know, they see that we can easily assimilate into the society without creating conflict, and because we have very good professionals who support the International Financial Center and the business center here, those are the human resources the Western country need, especially Britain after the exit from the EU.
多くのね、香港の人たちが海外に移民しましたけれども、もう戻ってくる可能性ってのは少ないんですか？
They will never return because for them to think that Hong Kong will reverse to the past is impossible. You know, after the the June 4th massacre, they emigrate because they were afraid of the CCP, of the Chinese government. After a while, nothing happened. Hong Kong's rule of law was intact. Hong Kong as an international business center is intact. Hong Kong's international financial center is intact, and people are making money. Now they come back. But now it's very different. With the national security law, our rule of law is destroyed. And because they want to brainwash the students, our educational system is now being dismantled, turned into a brainwash machine. The civil servants are being censored if they do anything that's not according to the government's rule. If they say anything that is not according to what they liked, they will be censored. So are the teachers, and also they are now trying to dismantle and change the judiciary, by saying that there's no separation of power. If there's no separation of power, there's no rule of law. So this time, they are destroying and dismantling the Hong Kong system, which sustained Hong Kong as the international financial center and trade center. So Hong Kong is absolutely destroyed. There's no way for Hong Kong to be back to the past, the same as the past. And that's why there's no way people will come back again once they leave this time.
香港の繁栄がジミーさんのおっしゃるようなルール・オブ・ローとかですね、さまざまな自由に支えられている、このことをなぜ北京は理解できないんでしょうか、あるいは理解しようとしないんでしょうか。
Well, I think they understand it because the Hong Kong demonstration and the resistance movement, which is very dangerous for the Chinese in China, because Hong Kong can be the beacon of the Western idea spreading to China. They cannot afford Hong Kong as a beacon spreading the Western value to China. And if the Chinese in China also assimilate into the same value, they will be in trouble. For them, the internal security of China is more important to CCP than the economic benefit of Hong Kong as an international financial center or trade center. For them, politics is predominant. Economic consideration is subsidiary. So this is the reason why they have to clamp down us.
25日に行われたですね、林鄭月娥長官の施政方針演説、ジミーさんはどう聞きましたか？
It's a report totally according to CCP. They never, they don't think about the Hong Kong people. It doesn't mention the problem we had for the last 14 months. Why people went out to the street. Why they DQ the legislators and all the pro-democratic legislators resign en masse. The annual report explained nothing of the fundamental problem here. It's just a whitewash annual report, according to the CCP. And without the pro-democratic legislator there, the bill was praised by the legislators because all the legislators are establishment legislators. So it's a perfect report. And I think this will be the report in the future. I don't see the legislators returning to the Legislative Council.
こうした中ですね、香港の若者たちですね、高志峰さんとか周庭さんが 保釈期間の延長を認められず収監されました。これについてはジミーさんお二人知ってると思うんですけれども、3人ですね、どう受け止めてますか？
Well, I don't think they, I don't think they have given up. I think the young people will still resist in a different way. They haven't given up. They will be very creative to conduct their resistance in the future. I don't think the young people will be suppressed so easily. So I just think that the resistance will go on.
どうですか？アップルデイリーの記者たちは今の状況の中で非常にプレッシャーを感じてるんですか今？
Well, we still allowed to do what we have been doing, but under the intimidation of arrest. So yes, we are still doing what we do, but we have to have the shadow over us of the threat of being arrested. So this is not freedom of speech. If freedom of speech, we can do anything we like, we can write anything we like, we can say anything we liked without fear. Now we have to do what we want to do and what we want to say under the threat of fear. So there's no longer any freedom of speech, although we still keep on doing what we do. We don't know when we'll be crammed down. We don't know when our reporters will be arrested. But we have to go on. If we have to continue, definitely we have to be more cautious and more courageous. That's the only way. Because, we don't know when they're going to arrest us, because there's no law here. Everything they do is according to the political expedience. So people will still go on under the shadow of fear.
もしかするとこうやって、日本のメディアとジミーさんがですね、こういったインタビューをするっていうことは非常にジミーさんにとって不利なことなんじゃないでしょうか。
Well, it's dangerous. It's dangerous for me to accept interview because it's a collusion with foreigner. But I just have to go on. If I back down, the Hong Kong people looking to me to see me back down, they will have to back down. For me, the more danger I'm in, the more effective I can bring the world's attention to Hong Kong. And that's what I want. I don't care what happened to me. What happened to me is, is in their hands. But as long as I can still voice out, still, get the attention of the world to pay to Hong Kong's pride, I will have to do it. I have a duty to do it, and it is my coercion to do it, it's my mission to do it, because Hong Kong is my home. We must protect Hong Kong.
ただジミーさんと違って一般の香港の人たちっていうのはやはり国家安全法に対する恐怖、さらにずっと社会が混乱することに疲れ果てた面があるんじゃないでしょうか。
Well, I don't think there's a confusion. Definitely, not everybody will have, will uphold what we are doing. I think now even, some of the people in the movement has sidestepped the movement. They don't want anything to do with us. They used to be very good supporters. We'll be one of them because they are afraid of the national security law. They have sidestepped and proclaimed that, from now on, I'll resign from politics. This is understandable because it's too dangerous. Nobody have a claim on people being a martyr. So anybody have the choice. But I do think enough people, still like myself, are holding up and persist in our resistance. And as long as we have this backbone of people, we will go on. And eventually, I think we will win because history is on our side. There's always hope. If you believe in miracle, which we do, there's always hope.
ぜひもう一度こういったインタビューができることを望みます。
I hope so, but I think that, for our position is very clear. The reason we keep on fighting, not because we think we will win, we keep on fighting because it's very important for us to uphold the integrity and the self-respect as a human being. If we can keep on fighting and having this spirit of human dignity and freedom prevail, we will win, even if we lose a battle here. So hope to see you, and please pray for Hong Kong people. We need your voice, we need your attention, we need the world to pay attention to us. Thank you so much.
多くの私、香港の友人がいますんで、最後までですね、香港のことを伝え続けたいと思います。
Well, it's important that the world will save Hong Kong because we are in the frontier of fighting the same value as you guys. If we fall, that will be a damage to the credibility of the Western value system. You guys have to keep us alive and keep us fighting to the end, like you say.